Opportunity for these young players to prove themselves. Nothing better than doing it with a fantastic Pacific Northwest rivalry game.
And with that, we have young players on feature tonight. The man we're looking at Timbers 2, Dave, is Jeremy Abobasi.
He was the number 4 pick back in 2017, but this is actually his third year pro because MLS signed him to a generation.
And new player for Sounders 2 tonight, James Rowley. We're talking about Nick Hines.
Yeah, absolutely. Great pedigree, left-footed. Look for some consistency throughout his play tonight. Has 2 years of college soccer under his belt, so look forward to a consistent run of play this evening.
Now, Dave, these are two teams that did not make the USL postseason last year. Some struggles on that end, particularly down the stretch. What do these teams want to accomplish here in this first match, particularly it being a rivalry?
Well, there's going to be efforts to win. You can't afford to teach your players how to lose when the young players. You got to get that balance between development, and you need to teach them how to win early.
Sounders 2 average age of the starting 11 tonight is 19.6, and that is dragged up somewhat by the presence of 24-year-old Tony Alfaro. With young players, what do you do to keep your composure when you're going into situations? Organization.
Yeah, he's been part of the organization longer than anybody else within their coaching staff or their scouting team or athletic trainers. And that's part of why Giovanni Savarese decided to keep him within the organization as he took over.
You want the field grease to just provide frame there.
It's one of those youthful mentality things that we
Well,
Victor Rivas issuing on and just all over the bar. Crossbar.
Again, services getting into the box, getting runners there, edging the lines could provide some good joy for the Sounders tonight if they continue to do that. I think as a young group, they need to recognize the patterns and where they can actually penetrate and find success and literally try to exploit that continuously throughout the game.
Hopiao. Back toward Tevez. Wide left for Uzman. Lofted ball in there. That forces a clearance out of Phillips. And we'll have our first corner of the Sounders 2 season.
Usman's rather lanky for a fullback, James. What's that give him? How does that change his game?
Yes, great build. An opportunity to get, touchline to touchline, provide support in the attack, but also have the pedigree and the stamina to get up and down. Very, very important outlet for possession-oriented teams to get their outside backs in the mix.
Victor Rivas getting one of the photographers to move a little bit further back. Martin's over the ball with Nick Hines. Looks like S2's prepared to play the short corner.
There's only 4 in the box here currently.
Martin takes it itself. Rogers up for that ball, and that was swatted down and away by Mangles. Out for an S2 throw-in on the far side.
A rather conservative look. You would like maybe about 5 in the box for S2 to really give an opportunity. You had 2 at midfield with no one, so I think they could have the opportunity to add another one into the box on the next set piece or corner kick.
Ulysses will throw in. And more conversation here. Looks like Modu Jadama and Felix Chankin are getting a little bit too friendly in the box. Ulysses over the head of Chankin toward David Olsen. Olsen goes down, and it will be a free kick for T2.
Olsen's foot just a little bit too high on that challenge when he was trying to flick it on.
Well, it took S2 a little while to get much pressure going, James, but just like you said, they're starting to find those cracks. The passing lanes seem to be opening up. What can T2 do to try to close things back down?
Yeah, I think T2 is content to try to keep their line of confrontation at half field and try to catch Sounders on the break, and they almost had a few opportunities. In addition to that, they're very dangerous on set pieces, as we've seen. So I think that will be their game plan.
Jadama back to Mangles. And Ulysses didn't want to know how that story ended. He just puts the ball into touch. Nathan Smith to throw it in. Dave Denzo Ulysses right back out of Haiti. And someone who came in and impressed with his pace last year with S2.
I liked what Ulysses really brought. The way that he tries to get forward frequently, I think he needs a little bit work on his passing, but we'll see that a lot more this year where he's the consistent right back now of S2 in the future.
Absolutely, great point. I think it's going to be very important to see how this body of work is shaped over the course of the year on several key players, him being one, absolutely.
Tevez goes straight through, flicked on by David Olsen. Phillips giving chase for T2. And under pressure, that ball takes a deflection, stays in. Advantage called for here by Victor Rivas. Chankum going out wide to Olsen, flag stays down. Looping ball in, Chankum leaps, it's over his head and headed away by Smith. Tevez. Near side to Uzman. Sounders trying to stay on the front foot. This looping ball in will go out for a goal kick.
Again, good thoughts, sustained pressure, getting the ball wide, whipping balls in, edging the line, sustaining the pressure so you have another opportunity. So a good round of possession from the Sounders there.
It was a nice effort, too, from Olsen chasing that ball down.
Absolutely.
He tried to pass that expecting Hines to make that run. The run wasn't made, but Olsen put Phillips under pressure in order to win the ball back.
Absolutely. You need those moments are special, especially as a defender, to see your forward and front runners making those kind of efforts. Definitely brings life to the team.
Another free kick here for T2. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. It's going to be Andre Lewis to send in this free kick, and set pieces have been dangerous so far for Sounders 2 at the back end. Earlier corner kick went off bar. Lewis driving toward the back post. Free header, and that one over and
Again.
not by much. Although the flag was
Offside.
up for offside. Well, certainly that, James, may have been a part of the reason for the separation, but once again, Timbers 2 looking very threatening on those set-piece opportunities.
Yes, they are. That's going to definitely could dictate the result of a game. So you want to limit free kicks in dangerous areas and try to earn them on the other side as well.
Cam Martin goes to ground. That's another risky turnover. This is Lewis. Space for a shot. Closed down by Rogers, but not cleared. Hansen into the near alley. Help arriving. Taken on and cleared away. That was Ibrahim Uzman showing off the left back chops.
Definitely, again, almost a goal given up just by sloppy play in the back. You definitely want to gauge safety versus risk when it's time to play, when it's time to go. Again, I think T2 will try to exploit those opportunities more and more if S2 wants to try to play out the back consistently like that.
You can see John Hutchinson there just now, and James, he may have been telling his backline the same thing. 21 minutes gone here from Cheney Stadium in Tacoma. No score between Sounders 2 and Timbers 2.
T2 looked eager to pounce on that ball, too, on that turnover. They had three guys forward like that, and that's something that's clearly part of their plan.
Martin. Uzman. Brought down and sent forward. Chankum off on his horse here. The flag stays down. Chankum cuts it back, was looking for Hines, and the two of them just couldn't link up on that run.
It was a good idea by Chankum there. Felix, he knew where Hines was. His thought process was right. It's just one of those touches that didn't work out. I'd like to see more of that from him, because you do that several times in the game, good things will happen.
Absolutely. Keep stretching the back
Ball
line.
in from Uzman toward Chankum, cleared away. Followed by
Perfect
Ulysses
opportunity
wide.
now. Unlucky, but to just settle that down, get the ball wide, in a better position to whip the ball in, a higher percentage to try to whip the ball in on the right side. But a good, eager effort. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, it's been pretty end-to-end crowd filling in very nicely here at Cheney Stadium. And why not? Plenty to be excited about. You're a soccer fan, a proud Tacoma or South Sound resident. Another dangerous ball here down the left side. Into the area, sliding
Great
challenge
tackle.
from Ulysses. And that, well, that's about as good as you can get.
Great tackle. Great timing.
Running toward Lewis. Smith. And drop back to Chidama. Chidama looking to go over the top. Ball comes to the near side. Uzman coming out to defend. Back toward Hansen. Lewis. And turned over. Tevez.
Well done.
Player upended, and that'll be a free kick. Nick Hines, the beneficiary of the referee's whistle.
S2's attacking midfield drops back in defense a little bit more even than the first team does, putting a bit more effort into winning the ball back so they can get into the attack where they want to earn their contract.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you want to continue to have those lines compact, especially as T2 continues to look for opportunities to pounce on the break. You want to keep those lines compact as possible.
Chankum goes down on that ball. Coming back to David Olson, left-footed shot from him. And that took a very friendly-looking deflection for Alex Mangles, who makes the stop.
Yes, good combination play from those two up top there.
Olsen had that habit when he was in the academy too. He tended to look for using that third dimension, passes up and over, not just side to side. It's something that he used to do with Jordan Morris. They played together when Olsen was a junior in high school. Jordan was a senior.
We have two players down here. It looks like there may have been a clash of heads as they went up for that ball. David Olson, the man down for S2, haven't been able to clock a number for the Timbers 2 player yet, but that's going to bring this match to a halt temporarily. Here, exclusive stories directly from the USL players and USLsoccer.com's From the Pitch, with written and video content that provides unfiltered access and a first-person look into the professional game and the players' everyday lives. 25th minute here at Cheney Stadium. Let's take another look at that, and oof, that's, James, I'm sure you've been involved in one or two of those, and it's never a good feeling.
No, that hurts a bit. Hopefully they're both okay, but that's definitely going to sting.
That's Lowe from T2. That's down right now.
Terrell Lowe. Chance we haven't had to call his name yet. 19-year-old out of UVA. 2016 All-ACC freshman team. David Olson is up and moving around the bench area on the near sideline. He's going to wait to check in with the fourth official. Lowe, who seems to have taken the worst of that content, is going to head off as well for a moment. And now Victor Rivas has awarded a free kick to S2, as it was Lowe who initiated the contact. We'll see what S2 decides to do with it. Olsen waiting to return. Lowe still being checked out on the far sideline.
That looked like concussion protocol for Lowe. So they're taking their time, making certain that he's able to come in.
Jankum gets to a foot to that attempted clearance. Low cross on the ground, comes right back to him. A big move toward the byline. It's gone out. It'll be a goal kick.
They're subbing him. I think that head injury was a bit too much.
And the home fans unhappy with the decision for the goal kick. But it does look like we're going to see a substitution for Terrell Lowe here.
It's the right thing to do, as we've learned. James played with probably the most famous case with the head injuries around American soccer, but the leagues at all levels now are taking much more concern about the potential for head injury.
Absolutely. Kudos to the training staff there. Obviously, as a player, you never want to come out, but I think they went through the protocol and felt that for the safety of the player, they needed to do so and make this change. You can see he's got it over there and being consoled by the training staff, but it was the right call.
Meanwhile, Alfaro's just been issued a yellow card for his second poor challenge of this match. And another T2 player down. So what was an end-to-end game is kind of ground to a halt here over the last 7 minutes or so. We can confirm that it is Jimmy Mulligan who is subbed on for Terrell Lowe. He'd been on the bench to start things off.
It's interesting. This, I don't necessarily think the contact is what you'd expect from an S2 T2 kind of rivalry. This isn't that level. This is just a couple risky challenges that went the wrong way, not fierce kind of fighting that you experienced.
I was just going to say that it's taken 27 minutes to kind of get some grass on the jerseys there. Not the typical speed of a rivalry game, but I'm sure they'll be welcome to it in these next 20 or so minutes until the half.
On the way from Blake toward the back post, and once again, there are certainly places you could try to beat Callie Brown when placing a shot, but going high, as a general rule, will be difficult to achieve victory. Tevez, ball play out to the right side to Hopiao. Defenders recover. Hopiao back inside to Tevez. Chipped out left for Usman. Olsen calling for it in the middle. Usman taking on his man. That ball over the end line and out for a goal kick.
Tevez has been bright. I think he's been very, very good in the middle of the park there, just holding, being a pivot, able to connect passes. If he continues to do that, he'll put the team in S2 and definitely opportunities to succeed. Just keep getting the ball wide, play simply, connect passes, break up play.
A correction on that earlier substitution. It's Carlos Anguiano that came on. He's one of the academy players that's playing up here. The entire bench for T2 is an academy kid playing up with at the pro level.
Well, just about 15 minutes to go until the break. Modu Jadama puts this ball back in play, and there's a runner to the near side. Low ball in. That got by Brown, and that's an easy conversion in the middle of the net. T2 taking the lead in the 30th minute. And it's
Definitely
Augustine
unfortunate.
Williams with his first goal of the season.
You want S2 to be a bit set there. It wasn't a quick free kick. I think they could have been better set to absorb pressure from that free kick and not let that ball get put in a dangerous spot off a big switch.
I'll take another look at it here. So low cross in, gets by Brown, who looked like he got a hand to that, and Augustine Williams at the back post. Look what I found. So T2 leads 1-0. And James, what has to happen now for S2 over the next 5 minutes or so to recompose themselves?
Great question. Critical moments these next 5 and how S2 responds. You just want them to continue connecting passes and getting it wide on the flanks, overloading a side and whipping the ball in, exactly what T2 did on the other side.
Klein playing ahead. This is Williams. Back for Lewis.
T2 not content to just have that 1-goal lead. They're rapidly trying to get back into the dangerous areas, threatening the Sounders too with the trying to score another.
Definitely. I think the pace of the game will pick up leading into half and then after the break as well.
Jankum switches over to Hopiau. Looking to take on his man, Hopiau. An edge past Smith, but can't connect with David Olson inside the area. Jadama. Hansen. Hansen gets past Usman, who is lunging in. Out of the far side. Sam Rogers turns away that cross. Nathan Smith will put the ball in play. Finds Devin Jamga. Dave S2 a bit back on its heels at the moment.
Yes, but they have. If they can continue to force T2 out that wide and into crosses, crossing against Sam Rogers isn't going to be very effective. He's young enough that if I'm T2, I try to beat him positionally. Crossing against, he's got a very big frame, so I don't know about their success crossing against him.
Harold Hansen comes away with that ball. Now into the near alley.
And as I praise Sam Rogers' side, you can see
Hansen once
Usman.
more in the middle. Another cross. That one's behind Abobasi. Cleared away by Ulysses.
T2 definitely applying the pressure now, have some sustained possession. They're first to 50-50 balls. They're playing it with a bit more grit at the moment, so you want to look to turn that tide. S2 does.
Jamga. Lewis. Ahead to Williams. And a bit of a tangle up with Mulligan on the far side. Free kick to S2, quickly taken. Ulysses.
Good pivot. He has space.
Some room to work here potentially for Sounders too. Alfaro keeps it on the ground. T2 really set in here on defense. Hansen going quickly up the top. It's Abobasi who's applying pressure. Sam Rogers does enough to get it back to Callie Brown.
That's exactly what T2 probably came in to do, was to really sit back, have that line of confrontation at half field, look to catch the Sounders on a break or a set piece, and then bunker in. And as S2 continues to try to push for the game, to exploit them again in the spaces that they've created.
High pressure right now from Sounders too.
Yep, good, love it.
And it's enough to win a free kick after a handball. Tevez will set up to take it. Restarted a little bit too quickly, I guess, for Victor Rivas' liking. And now it's quickly taken. Alfaro surveying. High line held by T2. Ball in. Finds David Olsen. Chenkum shoots. He misses wide of the near post. It looked as it came off his foot that ball was bound for the side netting, and Felix Chenkum cannot believe it.
Great opportunity to equalize there. Just has to be put on net, and I believe it's a goal. Good challenge on the initial ball. Sat up perfectly. Just needs to be a little bit of composure and just put it on frame.
I'll take another look at it here. Ball in. The service looks so inviting. And as they say, it's always that second ball.
Mm-hmm.
Good awareness from Olsen to bring that down to Chenkum, but James just unable to finish it.
Yeah, unlucky.
Well, that's been a bit of a problem for Chenkum the last little while. His last goal for S2 came mid-August of last year. Suffered a bit of a cold streak to end the year, and hoping very much that he has a chance to reverse that tonight to start off 2018.
Yeah, coaching staff has confidence in him. Forwards are supposed to have short memory, so hopefully he gets, I'm certain he'll get a couple more opportunities tonight to get off the marks for 2018.
Smith in for Anguiano.
That was a nifty little dribble through space there. Split the defense.
Yeah, Tevez, young player, very good in possession, like his spacing and being the pivot. For me, needs a bit more bite. Needs a little bit more Ozzy Alonso in him as he's in that six, kind of dictating the game. But technically, tactically, very sound. But again, you want him to kind of, roll up his socks a bit and get stuck in when needed. But as a 17-year-old, has been very bright in this first half.
Dave, S2 missing Ray Sari and Francisco Narbonne, their usual first-string holding midfielders tonight, but there has not been that much of a step down with Martin and Tevez. They've impressed.
Yeah, Martin and Tevez, I think, are adding a lot in possession. As James just said, that they lack a little bit of the bite. Both Narbonne and Sari will use their bodies much more than the two kids are.
And that one just comes off the foot of Felix Chenkum into touch. Anguiano. Smith going by route one. Abobasi taking on Rogers. Now dropping back for Klein. Sharp ball in, stopped by Brown.
So far, Rogers has held his own against Abobasi, which is good to see. Rogers just 18, Abobasi in his third pro year, as we discussed in the pregame, 21. So Rogers showing that kind of ability, that why the team signed him as such a young player last year.
And on that previous play there, as the idea for the long ball goes, the midfield line has to edge up so they can win second balls. Right now, there's too big of a gap between the front line and the midfield line.
S2 clearing it away here. Chenkum trying to hold the ball up in space. Goes to ground. He's looking for a call, but he won't get one. And Chenkum staying down there. Ball comes to the far side for Smith. And now T2 going to put the ball out of play. Felix Chenkum has gone down and is in an apparent amount of discomfort out there, James.
Yeah, it looks like he may have gotten raked, stepped on a bit, so should be able to shake it off and get back in the game. But definitely, it hurts.
Have you got what it takes to beat the experts on USLsoccer.com? Show off your knowledge of the league by picking the right results of the USL's matchups each week of the season.
You might have seen just in that replay right there, the patch on the side of the jersey with the little TAC for Tacoma on the S2 kit this year.
It's a great effort has been made by the organization to kind of reach out and embrace the city of Tacoma. And you have to say, from looking at the crowd out there tonight, they're embracing them right back. Could be a very fun new tradition in the South Sound.
Absolutely. Beautiful setting this evening. ECS is vibrant as always. It's an opportunity for these young players to play in front of a vibrant crowd, earn their respect, earn their trust just by their efforts and display on the field.
Well, 5 minutes to go until the break. Another long ball looking for Mulligan. It's going to get to him. Mulligan inside to Hansen, gets it right back and loses it into touch. James, what are you hoping to see out of S2 in these last 4.5 minutes now, plus stoppage, so they can carry something positive into the break?
Absolutely. Great question. I think the last 5 minutes are critical out of any half. So T2 seems to have a lot more of the play, so it's going to be either try to catch them on a break or just go down and to the halftime locker room just 1-0 down and look to regroup. But look for some bright play in the second half. But with 5 minutes left, this is definitely a critical part of the game for me, to not go 2 down.
Play restarted by Phillips. It's a long ball upfield. Alfaro puts it up in the air. Tevez goes down. And Martins forward to Olsen. S2 covering ground quickly. Olsen going inside toward Hopiau. Diving clearance from Smith, only as far as Tevez. Back inside to Olsen. Olsen going in here, comes out wide. Hines goes down, and the referee points to the spot. It's going to be a penalty. Timbers 2.
Right play.
Confronting Victor Rivas here, but Nick Hines going down as that ball came out his direction. And S2 with a chance for an equalizer.
Again, a good run of possession there. I think critical moment. They tried to edge them and spread them deep with a through ball over the top. Second balls were picked up by Tevez, who was able to spray it out wide again. And some very good aggressive play by the Sounders into the box.
And it looks like it's going to be Felix Chankum, Cameroonian, plays with the U20s. Hoping now for a chance to open his 2018 scoring account against Alex Mangles. The crowd on its feet here at Cheney Stadium. Rivas blows his whistle. Chankum down the middle and scores! Sounders 2 on the board, and we're level in the 43rd minute. The fireworks go off, the crowd is celebrating, and we're level at 1-1.
Great penalty, great composure. I knew he'd get another opportunity. I didn't know it would be that easy, but we'll take it. Absolutely. Great composure to step up and take that penalty.
He went with velocity, too. Wasn't really concerned about placement. It was kick it as hard as he could.
Another look at it here. See Chankum picked his spot, knew he had it.
Very good. That would bring them to life a bit. It will bring the team to life a bit. Great momentum builder going into the half. Now they just want to either try to get that second or sustain this pressure building by T2.
We might be able to see it on camera soon, but over in the supporters section, they've popped smoke in celebration. Something that the Tacoma Rainiers have worked with to have available here.
Always at the discretion of the fire marshal. You see it there. One of the great joys of soccer atmosphere. And ECS unable to do it at CenturyLink Field, but more than welcome to do it here at Cheney Stadium.
Yeah, beautiful sight there. Shout out to the ECS, always vibrant and loud, supporting their Sounders first team and second team.
Sounders 2.
That was a beautiful
Perhaps
switch.
smelling blood in the water a little bit here. Nick Hines carrying on onto his right foot. Chips that ball through. It's Olsen trying to link back up to Hines. Chip shot and scored! Nick Hines in his debut! And like that, in 2 minutes, Sounders 2 grab a pair of goals. And look at this!
Love it. Great vibrant play again. Literally, these are compounding big time, game-changing moments, especially as you're leading it to the second half.
I know Olsen won't get the assist on what wound up being the penalty, but that's twice where he's used nifty little moves to break into Hines.
Absolutely.
Take another look at this. The link up, the back heel, And what placement getting the ball over the head of
Fantastic
Alex
finish.
Mangles.
Fantastic finish.
S2 back in front in the blink of an eye, 2-1. And the body language on Timbers 2 right now, they're shell-shocked, James.
Yes, fantastic response from this young S2 team. That's what we were looking for. This is what helps develop these young players to go down 1-0 against a very, very stingy T2 team, and then to be up 2-1 leading into the half. Very important.
Nick Hines probably trying to declare that he's more of a left midfielder than a left back. Back with Akron, he spent more time at left back than left mid. But when you're scoring goals like that, you're going to be placed in more attacking positions for the next few games.
Absolutely. Great pedigree.
Fourth official has indicated that we can expect 3 minutes of additional time here in the first half. Felix Chankum
There
run
we
over
go.
by Modu Jadama
Great
there.
set piece opportunity here. Just to go 3-1 would be fantastic. They changed the entire tide of the game.
Sounders 2 earning their opportunities. A bit of a heavy physical toll so far, and it looks like there might be more than just a warning in this for Jadama, but if it's not, it will certainly be his final warning.
Could be an in-swinger here.
Just a warning for Jadama. Nick Hines over the ball, as is Martin.
It's from where the pitcher's mound would be if, well, they hadn't removed it.
Good thing the mound's not there. There'd have to be a little bit more loft on the effort to get it over the clay.
I think this is going to be an in-swinger. It's going to be put in a dangerous position if you frame the goal, get traffic through the goalkeeper, in front of the goalkeeper's perspective, and this could be dangerous.
Martins runs over. It is an in-swinger. Low ball in. Diving header from Mulligan, and it'll go into touch.
Unlucky. Beating that first defender is very important. Had the opportunity to do something special, but it was a very good effort.
S2 back in front. Knew the set piece was a good opportunity, but in no real hurry to take the throw in here. It'll be Denzo Ulissi who does.
And they've returned to their standard shape rather than keeping their big guys up.
Ulissi in for Chankum. Down line toward the byline. Chankum gives chase, won't get to it. Well defended by Nathan Smith.
James, are you surprised that they didn't keep their tall center backs forward on that throw-in?
Yeah, I think it was just a safe play, just to get their shape sorted out. I think they had plenty of opportunity to keep possession there, just keep the integrity of the team the same leading into half.
Ball comes in the air. Victor Rivas glanced at his watch just now. Shannon Hopiau upended in the air for that challenge. And we're going to have, it appears to be a throw-in. Victor Rivas hasn't clearly signaled. Ulissi throws in. Sounders 2 just kind of biding their time. They have reason to be optimistic. 2 quick goals in the span of 2 minutes. I've seen them climb back on top. 2-1 they lead here in stoppage time in the first half against Timbers 2. Phillips looking for Hansen down line. Knocked into touch on the far side. And that's it. First half is in the books, and in dramatic fashion, S2 leads at the break 2-1. We'll take a short break and return with our halftime thoughts.
entire organization.
Okay.
Welcome back to Cheney Stadium here in Tacoma, Washington, where, gentlemen, in very dramatic fashion, Sounders 2 has taken the lead over Timbers 2 to end things. It was Augustine Williams who put T2 on top in the 30th minute, but S2 fired back from the mark in the 43rd minute thanks to Felix Chankum, and then 2 minutes later, Nick Hines managed to chip Alex Mangles to give us our current scoreline of 2-1. Gentlemen, it's been a vivid first 45. It's a very vivid halftime. There's activity out on the field. People are running around. This is a really fun atmosphere.
Absolutely. Family friendly, obviously, but the rivalry game has definitely lived up to its expectation and provided some excitement for all the fans in attendance.
I've kind of later on in the season want to get out there and show some people what it's like to be. They've got some party decks. They've got this view from the 1-goal zone, plus the supporters section. And when the mountain's out, you get one of the best views you can have around Puget Sound.
You see there, Timbers creative director Casey Cathwood out there and up to something zany, but it's all part of the atmosphere and the energy, and that's probably a big part of why S2 has been playing so well out there tonight, James, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they've been very supported, not only by just the base, the normal fan base, the regular family-friendly fan base, but also the ECS as a catalyst of any fan group. So they've definitely been able to score twice going down to that end, and hopefully they can continue the pressure in the second half.
They kind of fed off of that first goal and the energy that they got. They looked ready to pounce and get their second quickly.
Gentlemen, from a Timbers 2 perspective, there are positives to take away from this first half. What did you see, Dave? Who really kind of impressed for you for T2? And then, James, your thoughts as well.
I really liked Hansen, and part of what I liked about him was that he would drop back in defense quickly, and then whether he won the ball or one of the other T2 defenders won it, he immediately transitioned to the attack. He wasn't patient. He was all very energetic. And I kind of like to see that because I know the Timbers as an organization are trying to preach. Giovanni Savarese wants high pressure, wants to force turnovers deep in the other territory. So to me, that's what Hansen was doing, and that's what you have to recognize. If he's going to win a first-team job, playing as your first-team coach once with the first team, that's vital.
And James, what about you? Who from T2 stood out to you in that first 45?
Yes, Ibobasi for me was bright. I just think he used his body well, was active, was in the attack, triggered the press when it needed to be and caused some havoc and some turnovers early in that first half that they could have capitalized on. So for me, he was very bright in the first half.
S2 was a little bit fortunate that he missed that first goal. He could have opened it up, about the third or fourth minute. Yep. He had an early shot that he just skied a bit.
On the same side of things for S2, it's been an impressive display from the holding midfielders, as we mentioned midway through the fast, Cam Martin and Tyler Tevez, pardon me.
Yep, absolutely. No, Tevez for me was very bright. Again, I think technically, tactically, positionally, he was very good. Would want to see him with a bit more bite, but overall display, overall body of work in the first half was very good.
And just 17, playing a position that isn't normally what he does. So it's nice to see that from Tevez and from Martin as well.
James, very quickly right now, if you're each head coach, what are you saying? If you're Cameron Knowles, what are you saying to Timbers 2 at the moment?
Absolutely. You tell them, hey, 2-1 lead is the most dangerous in soccer. There's an opportunity to get back out there, dictate the pace of the game. We've been able to press them. We've been able to cause some turnovers in good spots for us. And we've also been able to dictate them on set pieces. So they'll definitely get their opportunities. As for S2, you say, hey, we want to get out to a 3-1. The next goal is very important, and we want it to be ours. And we also want to continue to start very bright and not give T2 opportunities by bad, sloppy play in unsafe places on the field.
Dave, in your mind, which phase of this second half is going to be most crucial for S2 to try to close this game out, maybe go out, pressure, get another goal?
I think I kind of want to see S2 come off early with a lot of energy. They played very well with a lot of pizzazz right there at the end. You saw David Olson with his unique skill set, trying stuff in kind of a Clint Dempsey way. I want to see him continue that. I want to see them get the energy of the crowd back into it.
Well, at the break, Sounders 2 leading over Timbers 2 by a score of 2-1. Don't go away. This is shaping up to be an instant classic at Cheney Stadium. We are back at Cheney Stadium in Tacoma, Washington. Sounders 2 leading 2-1 over Timbers 2 through 45 minutes. Andrew Harvey alongside James Riley and Dave Clark for you here. And it is an absolute carnival atmosphere. There was a gorilla on the roof playing saxophone. There have been kids on the field. It's really been something special to see. And if you are in the Western Washington area, I definitely cannot recommend getting out to a game this season enough.
There's some kind of turtle thing wandering around out there as well. I can't describe it besides turtle thing.
It is a great new day for Sounders too. And guys, we have halftime stats here in front of us on the printout. And James, what jumps out to you when you take a look at these first 45?
Absolutely. In a derby game, for me, what's interesting and I love to look at is duels won. So you see 28 to 26. S2 has 28 duels. 1 over T2's 26, and you can kind of see that, and that kind of dictates the game a bit. So pretty even there, and I think it's a pretty even game. But in addition to that, it's the total passes. Like we said, Tevez has a lot of joy in that pivot spot, that number 6 role, to just be the pivot and connect passes. Now it's time for S2 to do so with a purpose and overload one particular side and get balls into the box.
Dave, for you, what are you seeing from that stat line that you would like to call attention to?
I think the possession stat kind of calls out the two different styles of play that we're seeing. The Sounders obviously are controlling the pace of the game. They're getting 58% of the possession, 42% with T2, but T2 is really using that quick transition into the attack, so they're not looking at holding the ball. They're looking at immediately attacking goal when they get the possession.
Well, let's take a look at that Portland Timbers goal from the first half. You'll see it here. Low ball in from Mulligan on the near side. And Callie Brown had a chance to get a hand to it, and just easy cash in for Williams at the back post.
That will definitely be on the scout next week as they review this game. We have four players with an opportunity to affect that play positively. You have the defender closing down the play, and then it goes through both center backs, the goalkeeper, and the outside back on the back post.
And you imagine that was probably something that got addressed in the halftime talk by Sounders 2 head coach John Hutchinson, who is, you can see there in the center of your screen, making his way back to the technical area. T2 already back out on the pitch. And we'll get a look here at that second goal, the one that put S2 back on top. Great shot from Nick Hines. Well,
As you key in to watch this, I think you should pay attention particularly to what David Olson's doing with the ball right there. Key on that a little bit because he really created the opportunity.
See it there. It's Ulysses. The ball gets switched in here. And Hines starts that move, cutting inside. Olson, and like you talked about, that special skill set, there it is. And what a finish, James, from Nick Hines in his debut.
Great finish. I think you said Olson has been bright as well in this first half, a Seattle U Peter Fewing project. So he definitely has some bright moments, and then the finish is just aggressive to try something new, to be able to kind of be aggressive and brave, and that was displayed on that play.
Well, you talk about the future of a club right there. Look at that. That's the man wearing the captain's armband, 18-year-old Sam Rogers, giving instructions to Cam Martin and Dylan Tevez, 17-year-olds who are playing in the holding midfield. And guys, so far through 45, you have to say the youth movement is working for S2.
It's doing quite well. Interesting enough, back in November, I talked to Sam and I said, what are your goals now that you're a professional? And one thing that he said is that by his 19th birthday, he wants to earn a first-team contract. He turns 19 in May. He's got 6 weeks to make that. He's got a U20 call-up and is the vice captain here for S2 now.
Yeah, you mentioned pretty much when this match is over, Sam Rogers is probably going to be bound for the airport, off for a 2-week camp with the U.S. men's national team U20s, headed to Spain where they will take on Atletico Madrid and France. And a big opportunity. Of course, Jake Morris on the bench, another defender in the Sounders Academy, will be going with him.
Yeah, Jake Morris this year has been playing a little bit of wing back because they're using some odd, not just a four-man back line all the time. So he's gotten in on goal several times at the academy level, but he really stood out last year when he was with the first team during preseason.
Augustine Williams gets us underway in the second half. And T2 going to go quickly up the near sideline, James, to see if they can make something happen.
Absolutely. For me, the pace of this game is going to pick up a few notches for sure from both sides.
So Lewis, wide left to Smith, Jadama. We talked about it in the first half and pregame. 3-5-2. Callie Brown way off his line here. That's an aggressive charge, but it pays off.
Well done. And again, the pressure applied by Olsen is very good. The back line just has to read that. As the defender dips his head to play long ball, making sure the line's intact and dropping, and the keeper did very well to be off his line.
Williams almost had a great touch there. Like, he had his leg outstretched, and if he got the perfect move, could have popped it up over Brown. S2 was kind of fortunate, and Brown played it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the sense that despite the flurry of action there in the first half, there's still more to come from this match. Tony Alfaro, the lone player on the field who's in the book, cautioned in the first 45. And a flag up for offside on Chenkum.
Yep, not a bad decision there. Early in the second half, safety versus risk. Not a bad decision there at all.
James, where the infield's laid over there, normally having dirt for the Rainiers games, how do you think that surface is playing compared to the rest of it?
Great question. I think the surface has held up well. Traction for the players and how the ball's flowing and being moved around. So I think the field is definitely held up very brightly.
We haven't seen unusual hops or anything along those seams either.
Right. Yeah. No, it looks very good.
The Rainiers field ground staff admitting pre-game that they had never done anything like this before, but they're excited by the result, and for the benefit of the sight lines and the continuity and the size of the pitch, you have to say it's been a terrific decision. Over 13,000 square feet of sod will be brought in, and it's going to be a new 13,000 square feet every time. One of those great soccer traditions, the two poles you saw there, and just a great communal atmosphere around this club in its first outing in Tacoma. And the first of many, 17 guaranteed this season, to be precise. Potentially more depending on how things shake out.
Definitely Portland's going to press a bit. You already see their line of confrontation is high. They're pressing. If S2 can get past that first line, they can create some space, as we see here.
Hines and Olsen, they definitely seem to have one another on speed dial.
Hines is one that can really take advantage of that, too, with the speed that he has. If Portland's going to be up top, leaving him with just one man to beat, could be an opportunity for him.
Be great opportunity to get him isolated consistently.
Very similar to what you saw T2 doing with Ibobasi and Augustine Williams in that first 45. Sam Rogers flicked on by Olsen, won away by Jadama.
Great
Felix
reaction.
Chankum wins it back. Chankum ahead for Olsen. He won't be able to get to it. Nathan Smith cleans it up.
Smith's pass might have needed to be a bit more crisp. That kind of died there in that penalty area. Olsen nearly was able to catch up to it.
Big confrontation there. Phillips taking down Tevez. Ulysses. A lot of activity. Now we're getting that rival game physicality.
Get in the box.
Ulysses into the alleyway.
There we go.
He's kind of left up by himself there, James. When you played a little bit of right back in your day.
Absolutely. Yeah,
what do you need to do there when you're by yourself?
Great question. Exactly what he did. Fortunately for me, I had Ozzy Alonso supporting me at every angle that I needed. So when you take a look up,
Ulysses,
you see
space for a cross here in toward Chankum, dealt away by Phillips.
You just bring the ball back and keep possession for your team.
Now T2 looking to work quickly here. Back out wide to Hansen. Guzman's committed downfield, and the ball from Hansen needed to be a bit better there, James.
Yeah, and this is the break I'm talking about. T2 is very dangerous on the break. As you see, they can get to box in a matter of seconds. And so even in possession, S2 will be a great challenge for them, is to be aware of the break and where they can be exploited.
Brown. Martin.
Both
James,
teams.
when you know you're going to be playing against a team who will be pressing high for pretty much an entire half, what has to change, especially when heavy legs start to set in?
Absolutely, great question. Safety versus risk. I think it's important to really try to get past that first line, and once you do, spaces open up, and just try to connect what you see. Get some good support angles, get guys around the ball, and try to break down their lines collectively.
Guzman looking for Tevez. Ball going to come out wide here. This is Mulligan. Mulligan, good-looking cross. Ball finds ground at the back post, and it's spilled wide of the net. Devin Jamga got a foot to it, but did enough to win a corner.
It's an important set piece here.
T2 has those two forwards available, so when they get their midfield into transition, they have a bit more opportunity than Seattle, which is Felix Chinkum there.
Absolutely. They always have two forwards in the box, and that third runner's coming, so they can definitely cause some concern.
Ball in from Lewis. Low ball toward Brown. He goes for the punch. Jamga back out wide. Low effort in this time, and that one cleared, but only as far as Anguiano. Mulligan going over the top, and Brown off his line. Callie Brown having a good debut for S2. Bit of an awkward misplay there. Mangle's forced to let that one go, and Chankum is offside. Well, Dave, this is a rivalry that traditionally S2 have gotten the better of T2.
Yeah, Hutch told a little bit of a story that Ezra Hendrickson, who's no longer with the organization, he had joined the Galaxy after Siggy Schmidt left, but Ezra made certain that Hutch knew that S2 hasn't lost to T2, and now isn't the time for that to start.
Mangle's off his line, collects that. Like we said, both these teams missing the playoffs last year, but T2 had a rough go of things. 3-23-6 overall. Sounders were 19-4 last season, including a 3-game sweep of T2 by a combined score of 6-1. Here's Nick Hines. Hines going through, wants Olsen down line. Olsen gets to it. Mangles doesn't get. Guzman, chance for a cross. Low ball in. Rebound comes to Martin. Martin lining one up here, and that shot takes a deflection and misses wide of the left post. And you saw the fans jump up to their feet. They thought that one was going through.
Again, great sustained pressure. Opportunity to sustain the pressure by edging the lines.
Another look at it right there.
Oh,
that took a deflection on its way in, and it proved to potentially be a very unfriendly deflection for Mangles.
I think they called that a. The ref didn't see that deflection.
Well, if it was, it looked very slight, but it definitely appeared to take a little tick.
You say a ball is inches from being a goal. That was one of them.
54th minute here at Cheney Stadium. Sounders 2 on top. 2-1 over Timbers 2. Here's a Bobasi. Can't get past Alfaro. The two first-teamers that are out there this evening. And Alfaro wins the goal kick.
Well done by Alfaro there. He's been solid as well. He's going to be looked to as the experienced leader of this team. And he's going to be put under pressure tonight in the second half, and he handled it very well there.
Ball comes back to Alfaro. You see maybe there, the one thing about the infield, just a slight bounce as that one came out to him. But other than that, like you said, James, the surface has been playing terrific.
Absolutely.
Hines goes to ground there, wins a free kick. And Mulligan is displeased, to say the least. That's been a fun battle to watch, the former New York Cosmo against Nick Hines this afternoon. Restart by Alfaro. Hines. Guzman going for the overlap. Hines pressing on. Tries to scoop his man. Just gets away. Hansen to a Bobasi. David Olsen down in the heat. Back up and on the ball now. And now it's Phillips' turn to be upended. Here's Olsen.
Go yourself.
Olsen to his right foot. He shoots a stop by Mangles and a diving clearance. S2 still on the front foot. Now it's Tevez. Sliding challenge there.
There you go.
And that's going to draw a free kick.
I'm pretty certain Olsen heard you, James.
Yeah, no, great. He's been bright. Just love his energy, his ability to affect both sides of the ball. And he actually triggers his attack by his defensive play, as you saw there.
It's Andre Lewis who came in. Take another look at this run by Olsen. Gets to his right foot, and unfortunately can't direct it anywhere but at Mangles.
In the past, some within the organization had questioned whether or not Olsen was going to put in that effort instead of kind of just being a poacher. What we've seen tonight is a kid that really wants to be with the first team. He's putting in effort defensively. His passes have been good. That moment to shoot was the right decision.
Absolutely, and like you said, he's affecting the game positively by his effort and then by his quality when he does get opportunities to either connect passes or go to goal. So it's a very bright start from him.
4 men in the wall for Timbers 2. Chankum and Hines over the ball for S2. Alfaro and Rogers both up in the box. Chankum goes toward goal, and that's chest height for Mangles. Make sure you cast your vote for the USL Goal of the Week every Monday evening at uslsoccer.com as the road to the fans' choice USL Goal of the Year continues throughout the season. And guys, right off the bat, there might be an early contender for Goal of the Week on that strike from Nick Hines.
Absolutely.
This is Hansen pressing forward, poked away by Alfaro. Now to the left alley, Jamga, Callie Brown once more, and as you said, James, we kind of expected Brown to be dominant in the air, and he's been dominant everywhere in the area tonight.
Absolutely. No, very good for him. Look at that. Composes the team, lets the team breathe a little bit by grabbing that with his big paws and large frame, and now they can dictate the flow of the game here.
Dave, you had mentioned Brown has had a good stint of time here in the USL, down at Houston and elsewhere.
Yeah, he was their third keeper with the Dynamo for the last 2 seasons, getting all of his playing time with Rio Grande Valley FC. And it's an interesting move by the Sounders organization. They trust Tommy Dutra to train people up. And so for him, this is really about him on a first-team contract, getting that experience working underneath Dutra to potentially be maybe a second keeper.
Long throw from Ulysses.
And Tommy's fantastic. I've known Tommy for a number of years and think very highly of his ability to develop and cultivate young goalkeepers. So he's in definite good hands.
He just did that to a second keeper, turn him into a potential regular starter for LAFC.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Brown's presence here, pretty much here to replace Tyler Miller, who last year made some just leaps and bounds in what was already a really strong body of work as a goalkeeper, to the point that when LAFC knew he was on the board and had I guess all 5 picks of the expansion draft, but they used number 1 on him for whatever it's worth.
Absolutely, and I know Josh Ford as well, former teammate of mine, definitely has helped with that development as well, and I know he's on the bench tonight.
Well, that's one of the joys of coming out to USL matches when S2 is involved. You never know who you might see that's going to go on to do something great. Nuhu spending time here. In fact, he actually started most of last season with S2 and then played so well that Brian Schmetzer couldn't help but put him on the first team roster. Henry Wingo as well.
Yeah, great story. Great player, plays with grit, plays with passion. Love his animation during the game, and he showed to have tremendous quality with the transition to the first team as well.
T2 with another one of their transitions into attack quickly.
Ball in from Smith. This one to the back post. Free header. Hansen can't put it on frame. Well tracked by Callie Brown. He was right there to turn it away.
Hansen just keeps putting himself in dangerous spaces. If he can do something with those opportunities, T2 will level the game.
Yep.
Well, 60th minute, we're an hour in. Sounders 2, up 2-1 over Timbers 2. James, Dave, your main thoughts from this first hour of play and what we might see out of the final 30 minutes?
Yeah, I thought all in all, a very even game. Be very, very fast.
Thrown in by Smith. Lewis. Back up toward Lewis. Poked away by Ulysses. S2.
There we go.
Now
Pace
looking
is
for
picking up.
opportunities to break.
Set piece. I'm sure they're going to bring their numbers for it. Yep, there you go. So this is going to be very important to defend the first and second balls. 1, 2. 6 guys at the box for T2. 7th is coming now, so they're obviously pressing for the equalizer.
Andre Lewis set to send this kick in. 6 players crowding the edge of the area. Low ball in, that finds the ground. Alfaro, still not clear. Josh Phillips has it. He shoots, it's deflected.
Great block.
Nick Hines, now he's going to turn on the gas.
That's that
Good
speed
look,
that we've
good
been
look.
talking
He
about.
tried it. That's a good thought. Good thought.
You could see the crowd starting to rise up out of their seats. They saw that angle to David Olsen.
Find him again. There you go. Good composure. Just connect that pass. Look at that.
Hines, Olsen takes a touch. Hard in challenge from Phillips there, but a fair one. Well, I stand corrected. Victor Rivas took a moment to consider it and gives a free kick.
I've known Josh for a number of years as well. Very hard-nosed defender, puts in the work daily, and you can see him wearing kind of his heart on his sleeve there, and he's been known to do that as a player, which is great.
He played last year in a community that you know fairly well, Colorado Springs.
Yep, absolutely.
Spending
My
your time
hometown.
back with the Blizzard in the old PDL days. Anguiano.
Seattle might have gotten a bit lucky when he had the ball at his feet inside the area.
Bobasi. Now it's Williams. Williams into the area, going one-on-one. Sam Rogers slides to ground and turns that effort away.
Fantastic teachable moment for film next week. But again, Sounders on the break are giving up some very, very critical opportunities.
Lewis teeing up for the corner. Very crowded in the penalty area now.
6 guys. 7 with the one on the top of the box.
Short ball in. That one found a head. It looked like it was David Olsen. Straight back to Lewis. Second effort higher this time, and that one's standard clearance from Ulysses. Back in from Mulligan. Ball falls to Hines, dispossessed by Hansen.
The tackle. Hansen's been bright. He's been bright.
James, not only did they have 6 in the box, they were all in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
They pack it
Yeah.
in and tight.
Absolutely. In swinger. Just looked a slight deflection. And it's
Bobasi
a goal.
dispossessed there. Pardon
Right.
the interruption there, gentlemen.
They
Actually took
limit
this away.
They limit the goalkeeper's movement, so he can't use that big frame. They kind of pin him in there, and they're able to provide an in-swinger, a good service, especially if it beats the first man. It can be very dangerous.
Williams trying to take on his man. That ball finds its way to Hansen, who gets a touch to it. Smashed clear by Martin. Timbers, too, have been able to rally some possession. James, is it just the high press, or is there something else going on here?
Yeah, I think they have the flow of the game a little bit, but now you see Sounders are able to kind of dictate it. T2 definitely came out with a different mindset. They were going to press higher and look to win the ball back as quickly as possible.
Hansen taking on Usman. Near side to Mulligan. And you see there the recovery speed of Nick
Good
Hines.
tracking back. Now he needs to be tighter on that service, still giving the dirty work, but still needs to be very tight on that service to not allow penetration.
And we're going to see our first S2 substitution of the evening. It's going to be Jake Morris, the defender, coming on. We're still waiting to see who he's replacing.
Nick Hines.
It is Nick Hines. So Hines here, heading off in the 65th minute. Didn't appear to be anything wrong with him. Potentially just maybe trying to limit minutes at the start of the season and an opportunity to get another defender on, James?
Yeah, he put in a good shift, so with it was something that was spoken about at halftime or before the game that he might not be fully fit yet. Just wanted to get him a good run, put in a very good shift, should be happy with the body of work he created tonight.
Jake Morris, similar to Nick Hines, is somebody that there's a little bit of a disagreement about whether or not his future is a left back or a left mid.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's going to be the left mid.
Mm-hmm. So T2 finding joy on this right side, so he might be placed in with a bit more defensive responsibilities to kind of neutralize the joy that T2's having along this right flank.
Phillips and Olsen doing battle now for this header. Phillips lets it go. It's the old standby of whether or not you've won possession, grab the ball, and the referee's inclined to believe you, although Phillips did seem to have won it cleanly that time.
Yeah. And for me on that substitution, as this young group develops some gamesmanship, you take your time and walk straight across the field. Right? Instead of stepping off on the side, just walk straight across the field, allow your team to get a bit of a breather, get some instruction from the head coach, and to regroup as a collective unit.
T2's first sub was one of their academy guys, so it's interesting that S2 on their first sub is another academy kid playing up. S2 does have options at a seasoned veteran, and David Estrada is available on the bench, but they also have two, they have a 15 and a 16-year-old who are not academy players, but actually professionals at this point, too.
Those being Ray Serrano and Azriel Gonzalez, respectively.
Good defending.
Of course, Gonzalez maybe a little bit miffed they had to go and sign 15-year-old Ray Serrano, because until they signed him, Gonzalez had been the youngest ever player signed to an S2 contract. But again, it's one of those things where opportunities for players in the academy system really are developing. And Dave, that's something you had a chance to talk to Garth Lagerway with about the season, about turning T2 into that gap between the pipeline. And Felix Chankum has been down for a period of time now. Well, USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter. Well, Dave, kind of take us in a little bit, that conversation you managed to have about what S2 means to the Sounders.
They're definitely using it more to build players up. We're seeing it both with players like Jake Morris, Serrano, Azriel Gonzalez. They're using teenagers, exposing them. He's talked pretty extensively that when somebody from within the academy gets that first team contract, he wants them to have 100 games under their belt, which can take a long time unless you sign at the age of 15. Then you can get 100 games and still only be maybe 19 years old.
A flurry of activity on the S2 bench, and it looks like we might get to see one of those players we just mentioned.
I didn't see him get waved on, but he's already on the field. Right?
Well, we'll look to confirm that in a minute. It looks like Tevez went over and grabbed some water, but there definitely was activity up there. Doesn't look like we have an official change
they're man
yet. So S2 will press on with 10 men for the moment, but it does look like Felix Chankum's night may be done, still limping there on the near sideline. Brown is content to hammer this one away.
The natural replacement with Chinkum out as the forward would be probably David Estrada. They might be able to insert Serrano or Gonzalez in the midfield, though, and have Olsen play up top.
Yeah, Olsen played as a striker at Seattle University, and that is him on the ball now, looking for the big switch into space. Felix Chankum back on the field, and the ball too long for Denzo Ulyssi.
Yeah, there was a move. I see David Estrada on the field as well, so he's making his debut on the right flank there.
That's correct. David Estrada was quietly subbed on at that last interchange, although Chankum is still out there. So 2 subs used up by S2 now. Still just 1 from Portland. Here's Williams pulling the ball back to his right. Abobasi arriving in the middle. Alfaro tried to chip that into Abobasi's hands. It goes over the end line, and it's gone out for a goal kick.
He needs to consistently win that duel like he's doing, and he's doing a very good job. I had an opportunity to speak with David Estrada yesterday, and he's very eager for the opportunity to not only mentor, but also he still feels that he has some gas left in the tank to contribute on the field as well.
Estrada came on for Hopiau. One of the interesting things about Estrada is 2 weeks ago he was just here trying to earn himself a contract with one of the independent teams. He was basically working out with the Sounders because he still has friends in the area, needed to stay fit. Kind of worked his way onto a contract with a team that he really respects and clearly respects him.
Absolutely, no. He's definitely represented the badge and the crest of the Sounders very well. I know he'll be a dual coach, a player coach, and helping with the academy and helping mentor this young, vibrant group here.
James, you were talking the other day about how you feel the player-coach opportunity is very underutilized in the current lower league structure.
Absolutely. I think to be able to learn from someone side by side is the best form of learning. So if you have a center midfielder who's played and given his time in the league, and you have a prospect that you want to bring through the pipeline, there's no better way to learn than from actually being on the same field, whether in training or in games, from that experienced player.
Well, the battle between Hansen and Usman has been going on all match long. Hansen winning the point in that battle, drawing the free kick, which is quickly restarted by Lewis. Over towards Smith. Anguiano.
Good pressure.
Mulligan ahead and inside for Hansen. Chipped across the face of goal and turned out at the far end by Denzo Ulyssi. Conservative play, but a good one with pressure on his back.
Absolutely. Another teachable moment. I think the back line, the outside back, shifted a bit too early. Not necessary to actually shift that much, which forced Tevez to actually try to have to recover on that play.
Another look at it there.
That low ball continues to give Seattle a little bit more danger than when they loft it.
Very crowded inside the 6-yard box now. Ball in, and Callie Brown. No space, no problem.
Great outlet.
Heaves it up toward Estrada.
Unlucky there.
One back by T2. 72nd minute. And James, try to explain to us, even when you're a conditioned professional athlete, what's it like these last 20 minutes of matches when you've been running for an hour 10?
Absolutely. No, it's going to test the fitness, especially being the first game here. It's definitely going to be some heavy legs, but it's consistently trying to do the correct things. And when you're in possession, that's when you have an opportunity to breathe. But again, it's that gamesmanship. When you're subbed on this end of the field, it's walking over all the way across so that your team has an opportunity to just get a few extra breaths under their belt.
Ulyssi going to ground there. Nearly looked like he had an opportunity to hold that ball in. In the end, it's out for a T2 throw-in. Thrown in by Smith. Disrupted. One away by Tevez. Tevez going on a bit of a run here. Has Chankum ahead of him, picks him out in space, but Modu Jadama reads it all the way. Now it's Hansen. Hansen closing down space, chip shot. Did that take a deflection on its way out? It did not. It's gone out for a goal kick.
Definitely some tired legs. And T2 seems to be finding some joy within that midfield as well and dictating the play a bit.
Another look at that effort from Hansen here. Plenty of space.
Nobody closed on him until that very last moment.
Absolutely. Yep. Sign of tired legs. The closing down needs to be at a higher tick, especially when you have someone in dangerous opportunity like that.
Leaping challenge to get to that ball from Phillips. He gets there, cleans out Chankum in the process, and play continues. Tevez. Usman has Morris ahead of him. Usman swings in across to the back post, and well, that one doesn't come off the way he'd hoped.
S2 just resetting now, starting over.
Ulyssi. Controlled by Estrada, and
experience, great first touch, way to draw the foul. Now this is an opportunity to let the team breathe a little bit, get some direction from the coach, get some collective direction from each other. Draws the foul there, and we'll take it.
Victor Rivas. A couple more words of admonishment. Back into Sam Rogers. Well, Rogers, if you didn't see why the Sounders organization is bullish on him before this match, James, certainly you can definitely see what they like about the young center back now.
Absolutely. Clean game. We haven't spoke too much about him, haven't needed to, which is great. Makes good decisions, good positioning, great frame. He'll be tested these last 15 minutes for sure.
As you said, 15 minutes to play plus stoppage. S2 in front 2-1, but T2 have been looking dangerous in the middle stretch of the second half. Ball inside the Chankum. Shot takes a deflection.
You know, a player understands his history. I didn't realize this until today, but David Estrada's wearing the 74. A little bit of a call out to born in 74 of the Seattle Sounders. Nice to see such a seasoned veteran
That's really
respect the area like
that.
that.
Yeah, great to point that out.
Well, it's a club that, James, you can certainly speak to this. People have a tendency to want to try to find their way back here when their playing days are wind up ending.
Who wouldn't want to be in the Pacific Northwest to play for or be a part of a fantastic organization as Sounders? I know Adrian has done a fantastic job. I was able to sit down with him last week, and they're very, very excited about this opportunity to be down in Tacoma.
Ball in from Smith. And Babissi. That ball finds its way through. Chance for a shot, and that one skips off the top of the crossbar. And Jeremy Ibobissi is livid that he could not put that under the bar.
Great opportunity to equalize there. Needs to put that one away.
Now we're going to see the sub that we may have been able to predict earlier. Felix Chankum will come off, and it is going to be 15-year-old Ray Serrano, the youngest ever player signed to an S2 contract, coming on to start things off here in 2018.
Great debut. Be a great debut for the youngster to be lively in these last 15 or so minutes. Add some new youth energy to the squad and an opportunity to prove himself and show his quality.
15 years of age, definitely young. Serrano used to playing against older competition. The Sounders pretty much had to put him up with the U17s after he was too successful, as Wade Weber put it to me, with the U15 program. And, well, he may be running out of real estate in that sense. 17 goals and 17 appearances with the U17s.
David Olson's now up top. David Estrada now in the hole where Olson was.
Yep.
Putting the slight body of Serrano out wide where
Right.
maybe he gets into fullbacks rather than center backs with being a little bit undersized for the pro level.
Yeah.
Denzel Ulysses laid in and recklessly against Devin Junga and get a yellow card for his troubles.
And you see Estrada now dictating, pointing, directing. He definitely has the characteristics to manage these last 13 or so minutes.
Was there a time when you knew him as a player when you thought he'd be a future coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he has that pedigree. He's always been a student of the game. Him and I had a candid conversation, and he was someone that I took under my wing, and he's put together a fantastic body of work in his career. And I think he relished the opportunity to come back to the organization and still be a part of it in some capacity, and they've given the opportunity to do that, so I'm very happy for him.
Ibobissi inside. Now it's Hansen. Another sliding challenge.
Great
That one
tackle.
from Alfaro,
Great
and that's
tackle.
gone out for a goal kick.
The Sounders they're bending but not breaking, right? So they're going to have to withstand this pressure a bit more and also try to flip the momentum a bit and sustain some possession and get some attacking flow going the other way.
That was a nearly perfect slide inside the area where it's generally dangerous to do something like that.
Yeah.
The replay you see, you got a little bit of a toe poke to knock that back into Hansen, so it would go out too.
Brown restarts. 80th minute. S2 on top, 2-1 over T2. And now it's just one of those questions of which of these young squads is going to rise up and seize the opportunity to close things out. S2 have won a free kick right around midfield.
Andrew, I know in our discussion you said S2's problem or difficulties last year was closing out the last 20 minutes, 10 or so plus minutes to do so here, but could be a very good momentum push for them to be able to do so and add confidence to the group.
That's, as you always say, James, just so important to know how to close games out. It's maybe the most important part of being a professional, and that is what S2 is looking to develop here.
Absolutely.
David Olson on heavy legs manages to get some pressure to Mangles. Mulligan. Forced to play that one high. Alfaro gets to it. Williams. Anguiano. Dispossessed that time by
There we
Morris.
go.
Now it's
Keeper's
Serrano
off.
going over the top. Headed away by Phillips. Anguiano. Ray Serrano fired up in his
reaction.
debut. Long through ball to Brown.
When the young one looks at the film, he's going to see the goalkeeper at the edge of his box for that one. It'd be a great debut for him to see that and have a go.
Long ball from Callie Brown. S2 faithful, still singing, still dancing. Plenty of reasons to so far.
Substitution.
Going to be the second substitution for T2. And we are going to see Luca Cini coming on to the match now. Cini coming on for James Mulligan.
And like everybody else on the T2 bench, he's up available from their academy, loaned up to the professional side. Do you think that's part of why Cam Knowles maybe waited a little bit longer for to use his second substitution? Just because he's got less experience there to lean on?
Yeah, I mean, I think a number of variables. I think T2's had the flow of the game in the second half, so he was probably very good with what he had, but this seems to me to be an attacking substitution, so a bit strategic in the way they want to shift their formation a bit.
Ball into the middle, Sam Rogers. No question who was going to get to that one. Andre Lewis back to Phillips, and that one fans back into space. Nathan Smith, cut out by Rogers. Ulysses knocks that ball down. Estrada, Morris.
Connect. Good.
Pardon me, that was Martin. And this is Morris. Give and goes.
Good luck.
Punched on. Ray Serrano headed toward it. And, well, one thing that you cannot coach is size. Ray Serrano not with much chance to get past Modu Jadama. Throw in from Phillips. Late goings here. Martin. Serrano. Rogers, that one takes a deflection. Callie Brown thought about charging out of his area and now gives space. And Rogers
Great recovery.
making up for his own giveaway there.
Great reaction there. Tackle.
Hansen gets that one.
Great
And now
ball.
it's looped forward. David Olson. Does he have anything left in the tank? Touch inside toward Jadama. Jadama cuts him out. Quick switch to Smith. Ahead for Williams. Williams toward his right foot. And that a slow roller. Easily held by Brown.
And yeah, and you see some tired legs from Olsen. Great thought. You want to see him maybe hold that ball up, try to drive a foul, try to connect the game with his team. As you see, they go from one end of the field to the other very quickly off that one turnover.
Back for Brown. Going forward under pressure. Jadama and Olsen going at it. An announced attendance of 6,049 here at Cheney Stadium tonight. Massive crowd for S2 in their first ever match down here in Tacoma, as Jake Morris is cautioned. And guys, that's just a terrific number for a new team hoping to really engage in a new community.
Absolutely. Great atmosphere here. You see a lot of families here enjoying a Friday night under the lights in Tacoma with the launch of S2 here at Cheney Stadium. Fantastic, fantastic event thus far.
There's some interesting spots, too, that you can pick out. Next time we get a shot of T2's goal side, you can see that there's, I think they call it the Coors Light landing pad. It's basically about 20 feet up, and an interesting spot to have fun and watch the game.
Hansen in the right alley here. Chips that ball in, knocked away by Alfaro. Olsen trying to bring it down. Lewis resits. And the flag up for offside. The USL's official Facebook page brings you the best from across the league with news, highlights, and interactive features. Like the USL on Facebook to get the league's best content delivered to you. And certainly there will be some moments from this match. A couple of pictures of the crowd size, that's smoke. And a pair of goals from Felix Chankum and Nick Hines, which have S2 on top 2-1 in the late goings of this one.
An opportunity to defend this is a big set piece again. It's going to be an in-swinger. They're going to crowd the box and really push for this equalizer. This S2 team is going to be tested here.
9 men in or around the penalty area right now for Timbers 2. 10 in there, just David Olsen up at the midfield. Andre Lewis, in-swinger coming in. Brown gets a hand to it. It spills to the backside. Jake Morris gives chase and holds it in. Great hustle to avoid conceding another corner. Risky turnover, though. Ball comes back. Chipped effort. Callie Brown with a diving stop to his right side. And he holds it.
Lets the team breathe there, but that clearance has to be better, and I'm sure he knows that.
See the effort there. That one coming from Lucaccini, the recent substitute.
Great extension by Brown. And getting both hands on it, not slapping it away, but instead controlling the ball.
88th minute now.
This is the gamesmanship here. This is how to know how to kill the game off a bit. Find the corners. Try to get deep throw-ins. Really limit their opportunities forward by staying compact and kind of just being calm in the chaos.
Quickly one throw-in for S2. And like you mentioned, Denzel Ulysses somewhat half-heartedly searching for a ball there on the near sideline. Leaves that downfield. Tevez going through. David Olsen racing to this ball. He slides to get it. Comes to Jake Morris. Morris, touch to his right. He'll shoot. It takes a deflection. Pretty much pops straight up. David Olsen still trying to fight his way to it. S2 trying to mob the ball. Usman. And Estrada, like you said, the crafty veteran decides to pull it back to reset.
Good.
He was using some arm signals to tell his teammates where to be there, too.
Absolutely.
It was apparent he wanted to slow the game back down, get into shape.
Absolutely. This is where communication becomes vital. Organizing the group, directing
Hansen
the group.
here. Can't get past Usman.
Fantastic. Great defending again.
Usman searching. Turned over immediately to Lewis.
Good
He
reaction
ties up with
by
Estrada. 90th minute now. Nathan Smith going over the top. Sam Rogers, first touch, puts it over to the T2 bench.
Definitely some tired legs. They'll be tested here. Good opportunity to test their grit, their desire to win, close out a game.
T2 has some of their
Throwing in the Cheney, ball's loose in the box. Alfaro goes for it. Hits that ball. That hooks into foul territory out there on the near sideline. Quickly restarted to Anguiano. Working himself free. Space for a cross. Cuts it back. Ball's loose and volleyed away. Still held by T2.
An opportunity to organize. You'd like to see guys in the box a bit touch tight. Still a bit too much gap in between markers.
Space to the backside. Callie Brown spills that ball and dives on the rebound as it came to the foot of Harold Hansen. Callie Brown in traffic manages to get to that. as we are told that we can expect 3 minutes of added time. Now S2 is looking to close things out.
Here we go. A bit of professionalism here. How do we close out a game as a group? How do we stay organized?
Phillips. Alfaro heads it away from Ibabissi. Morris wins it off Hansen. Estrada back to Uzman. And another long ball forward there, although this one will die short of the penalty area. This might fall down for Morris here. Morris.
One on the back post.
Carrying on to his left foot. He's going to shoot. That takes a deflection. It's to the byline. Phillips lifts it over his head. Anguiano can't get there.
Good step by Estrada. Way
High
to read
pressure on
that.
the Sounders. It's Morris to his right. Back to his left. Morris
Fantastic.
taking everybody on. He goes
Penalty.
down once more.
Fantastic effort.
And no call from the referee.
Here we go. Staying organized in it.
Chip ball over the top. That one too long. Going to come back to Callie Brown. You see Morris, 1, 2, 3, basically taking on 4 defenders there. Nearly got past Modu Judama, but in the end the ball winds up safely in the hands of Alex Mangles. Well, we had fireworks at the start of this match. S2 hoping to avoid any more fireworks here at the end. In stoppage time, they lead 2-1 over Timbers 2. Another looping long ball. Williams chasing it. That one winds up going over the goal line. And after a moment's hesitation, the referee awards a goal kick.
Again, we just need communication from the 2 center backs and the goalkeeper there. They should be able to deal with that direct flighted ball.
Brown taking a little bit more time, slowing things down.
Waiting to send this one away.
There you go. Well done.
Driven ball. Phillips gets
Great
the first
one.
header. Estrada. Serrano back inside for Estrada. Estrada going on a run here. Finds Morris. Flag stays down. Morris back to his right foot. Chip shot straight into Phillips. Secondary effort from Estrada. Or pardon me, from Serrano is collected.
Morris just needs to hit that low and hard, tuck it, put something on frame. What a great ball by Estrada.
And
Great.
there it goes. Final whistle. The fireworks explode, and so does the crowd here at Cheney Stadium in Tacoma, Washington, where in its first ever match on the ground of the Tacoma Rainiers, Seattle Sounders FC2 has claimed victory over Timbers FC2 by a score of 2-1. Dave, your final thoughts on the past 90 minutes?
I think it was good for Seattle to close out like that. They generally slowed the pace down. It's something that they struggled with late last season, and it's good to get off that win, particularly against Portland, and particularly when you're essentially opening your new home ground.
James, for you, what do you take away from this game? Great debut, great result. What else is there to say?
Absolutely. To go down 1-0 and then to respond like that before halftime is definitely teachable moments that they can build on. And also the ability to close out the game is great. And you can see the excitement on the players and coaching staff's faces. This game meant a lot, and it should mean a lot.
James, for Timbers 2, if you're head coach Cameron Knowles, you open on the road. You have 4 more matches on the road before you get to go home to Providence Park. What do you take from this game to try to get a more positive result when you head to Colorado Springs on March 24th?
Absolutely. No, his T2 played well, created a lot of chances, created some turnovers, definitely dangerous on the set piece opportunity, so they have nothing to hang their hats on. They came out and competed and put themselves in an opportunity to equalize or to go up.
Dave, in the meantime, Sounders heading on the road after this one. They'll travel to Swope Park Rangers on the 24th. What can you expect to see out of that matchup?
I think it's going to be interesting for what the Sounders do because they won't have Sam Rogers. They won't have Jake Morris. They're both going to be with the U20s. So you're going to see Rodrigue Ele in at center back. It's going to be important that they can transition and get those defenders working together because of the change.
You see there, S2 milling around on the field. You saw Sam Rogers mugging for the camera a little bit. He's hopped up, and you can see all the players are as they start to make their way around the ground now to thank their home support.
A little bit of victory lap, taking that tradition that has been throughout the organization back to the NASL days, walking to every portion of the fan base, and then, as the first team does, looks like they'll end right in front of the supporters.
Absolutely. It gives me goosebumps to be able to see that and to be a player and to experience that. Is no greater feeling than to celebrate with your home fans in the ECS after a victory.
Well, it's a party here at Cheney Stadium, and it will be one all season long. Definitely come on down and check out the new home of S2 if you haven't already. They claim victory in their first game of the season by a score of 2-1. That's going to do it for Dave Clark and James Riley. I'm Andrew Harvey saying so long, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.